Cool. So we're talking about shifting left, and this is probably something that has been discussed on many occasions. People always talk about shifting left, especially when it comes to about security. Um, but yeah, so from our first lap within Tanuki Racing, we're going to kind of take advantage of how GitLab enables us to shift left, right? It's like making sure that we catch our security bits and pieces before things gets deployed into production. So as a little bit of an analogy, imagine you've created a lovely sandcastle. I mean, I'm not sure if you've ever been near a beach or anything, but if you are, making a nice little sandcastle. I remember vividly when I was a child on Zandvoort Beach back in the Netherlands, you make your little sandcastle where you're a bit too close to the water. And then, before you know it, it just gets flushed away and all of your hard work goes, well, back into the sea. So if you only really checked the position or where you've built it or built a moat around it or making sure there's some sort of security in place to make sure it doesn't get destroyed every time a wave comes by. That's kind of the idea behind shifting left. So you want to make sure that it's like you think about security a bit earlier on in your process, right? So the goal is to kind of find and address things before it really becomes a problem. So I'm not gonna bore you too much with too many numbers, but it is hard. Balancing speed and security is hard. Like I've spoken to many customers and some of them are very much like, oh, we need to release as soon as possible. We need to be ahead of our competition. We need to do this, this, and this. But then if you deploy a bit too hard, too close to the sun, and you don't think about your security and you consider security slightly an afterthought, you get in the news, right? Like you'll get some breaches, or it's important to make sure that there's a balance there, that you at least make sure that you at least think about, about having calculated risks, if you will. Don't do it. It's ideal if you just like shift left completely, do your scans, make sure that at least what you've put into production is at least scanned and secure, sort of. Because it gets expensive, right? Like some the cost of breaches is, I think there was a statistic in Europe. I think the total cost of security vulnerabilities was about 1 trillion or something, which is like 13 zeros, which is ridiculous. But the rising cost of a data breach, according to this particular um, statistic, is $4.9 million, which is a lot. You don't really want to have that behind your name, right? It's not really something to want to think about if you're just happily deploying some code. Anywho, so what does that look like in the sense of GitLab? So if you've been working with GitLab before, I'm assuming you have, because otherwise you wouldn't be here. If you're not, welcome. But this is kind of the GitLab flow. So you start from plan, create, verify, secure, package, deploy, monitor, and govern, all of the bits in the DevOps sort of cycle. And when it comes to shifting your security left, if you scan sort of while you're pushing code and whilst code is still being written, like it allows or you can empower your developers to kind of find and fix any sort of threats, before you merge anything, and then you can ship some more secure software faster. So traditionally, and I'm really hoping that's not the case for many people, but traditionally security teams are generally like a silo team. In a more sort of DevOpsy flow, you'd have engineering teams wanting to push things into production, only having the security team go like, hold up a minute, putting a blocker on things, throttling the speed of release by having to do checks, which are sometimes even manual. And we all know that humans make mistakes, which is fine if you know how to spot them and fix them. But this sort of error-prone process is not ideal when you want to ship your software quicker. So another thing I see happen a lot as well is that security then becomes a bottleneck due to not having enough skilled people in place having to do this. So shift and left is kind of mitigating that idea. So what is GitLab? GitLab is the most comprehensive and leading AI-powered, AI-native DevSecOps platform. So GitLab gives you better insights, greater efficiency, improved collaboration, and faster time to value. So by uniquely creating this offering as a single application, we are able to provide you with end-to-end visibility across your entire software development lifecycle. But we're just securing more than just code, right? So GitLab offers you secure container registry so you can protect your images and your packages as well. So it's not just your code. So this allows you to address security and control challenges in managing container images as well. 'Cause sometimes you don't want to pull Docker images and hopefully hope for the best. Not sure what's in it. You want to do your container scanning as well. So if you have your own image registry, your package registry, you can make sure that everything is controlled within your own GitLab environment too. Right. So we are going to get to our first workshop section or the first lab section. I'm just scanning or still glancing over at the chat. Seraphine, how are we doing?
Yeah, I'm monitoring the code. I've noticed that some people don't have access to the project on their groups. I've shared the new code in. If that doesn't work, I would have to manually fork it in, and I'll give instruction on how we're going to do that on the chat now.
Okay, so do we want to just quickly shoot in a break right now so we can catch up with everybody to make sure that everybody's here, or?
1 second, let me have a look. Yes, maybe we give a 5 minutes break.
All right, cool. So let's give it 5 minutes. Do quickly a quick comfort break. Grab some coffee, pumpkin spice latte if you fancy. Glass of water, maybe a bio break, and then we'll be back here at 1/2 past the hour. Ooh, it's a good thing that I didn't put the noise on that countdown timer, because if I remember correctly, that's going to be very loud and very annoying. Oh dear. Remember when I said earlier that this whole redemption process is like super smooth? It is most of the time. It looks like there is some people still not on it. So I believe Seraphina shared another group redemption code.
No, I haven't. So for those people that haven't got it, would manually fork in the project and then we walk through how you can redeem it. So 1 second, I'll send the project to you so you can fork it into your group.
Sure.
And then when you go to the issues, you'll see the issues there.
Cool, cool, cool.
Let me send the project and then I'll send the steps on how you can fork it into your group and where you can find issues while I fix the queue issues problem that we have in the background.
It's happening live, folks. It is happening live. That's how it goes. But to be fair, we do have the ability to do this. So if you're watching this at home in the recording, we're very sorry. um, yeah. So the old method should still work because we do have the project there. So if I'm not mistaken, that is checking the Learn Labs. Do 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 do. Let's find the project. Yeah, Seraphine, if you just drop the project in the chat, then I can walk people through.
Yep, I am dropping it here.
Because I think.
So that is the project. I'm going to share the steps on how you fork it in now.
All right, so if you go to this project, you want to click fork over here.
Yep.
And once you click fork, you want to put it in your namespace. So you have to find your group name.
Which you can copy from your URL.
Yeah, so you just take this one over here and you just type that over here. And then you should be finding that in here. I obviously already have forked it, so I'm just going to show what it looks like. But once you've actually, I'm just going to do it anyway. So I'll have two projects. I will delete it afterwards. Does that make sense? Isn't it gonna confuse things? I'm just gonna put the fork.
No, you should be. I don't think it's. Yeah.
Just making sure that it's that I show you at least how to do it, and then I'll just use the other project that was already in here. It's not gonna mess things up, is it, Seraphine?
No.
Okay, cool. All right, so click the link, click fork. Make sure you remove the fork relationship. That's the important part, right?
Yeah, we'll show you how to do that as well.
Yeah, so it's successfully forked. I've got the Tanuki Racing fork over here. You do not have to actually change the name. You can keep it the way you want. So that's important. You keep it the same. I just added fork to it just because I have two groups. Otherwise, if you haven't got the group, fork it and then have to go to settings on the left hand side and then to general. Scroll all the way down to advanced. And you really want to make sure that you remove the fork relationship, because anytime you do something with it, then it makes it a bit of a mess. So make sure that you click here, remove fork relationship, and then you have to type the name of the project to confirm that is removed. And once it's removed, then we're good to go.
Yeah. Then we go back to the issues and let's show them where the issues are.
Yeah. So if you go back to your project over here, then in the
courses,
courses, and then go to the security workshop.
workshops, yeah. And then security workshop, security.
Yeah. So it's a bit different. We have the issues, but if you don't have the issues, you can find it here. Okay, so bit of a recap. Click the link, click fork, remove the fork relationship, and then you have to go to Tanuki Racing courses workshop security to find the correct your issues. So if you go to settings, go to general within your project, go all the way to advanced down the bottom, and then scroll further to get in the danger zone because everything's in red. And there will be a button here somewhere that I already did, but you want to remove the fork relationship. I think that was there will be a big red button saying remove fork relationship.
I'm typing the steps as well in the chat.
Cool. Can I get a thumbs up if you now have access, and a thumbs down if you still need some time? Have you got the project, Ying? If you have the project, then there's no need to fork. Okay, so there's no rush for you. So if you've done the redemption at the beginning, then the issues will be in the issue list. If you haven't done it in the beginning, you need to go to the project repository, and then to courses, and then to workshops, and then to security, and then you'll have the information over there. I'll leave this open somewhere, so if you need to come back to it. So this is only for who has had to get the project information via fork. If you've done the initial redemption, then it's just in the issues. So we're going to have two groups of people, unfortunately, today. But the content should be the same. As long as you have access to the information, the issues, and you have a group assigned with the project in it, then we should be good to go. Okay, I don't see any thumbs down. So if you didn't have, and if you, last chance, if you need some more support or something, just give me a thumbs down or a sad smiley face or something like that. Otherwise, I'm going to carry on because got lots of stuff to cover. All right, I'm just going to. It's just a emoji. There's above the chat window. There's a little smiley face, and if you click that, there's options for emojis. Or you can just say, interesting. Okay, well, if you can just say I don't need any time, that's also fine. Oh, this is gonna be fun. All right. Cool. So ideally, everybody should now have either access to issues or access to the markdown files. So this is the wrong bit. For posterity's sake, I will use the issues because that makes my life a little bit easier. I have both of them open, so that should be okay. So I've got both bits of work. I'm just going to reshare because you want to see my whole screen. Nothing but the screen because you want to see both of the things. Cool. I'm just going to minimize my own face because I've seen my face enough today. Chat's over here. Okay, so if I look that way, that's where all my chat bits are, but I want to focus on over here. Right, so going back to the slides, we're going to the workshop instructions. We're going to the first one, shifting left. So in the issues, it looks like this. You're going to the left-hand side, plan issues, and then shift left. If you are in the other one, you go to repository, Tanuki Racing, courses, workshop, security, shifting left. Same information, same stuff. So I've got two things over here. Can we just say if it's big enough for people? Because I'm on an ultra wide. Yeah, you don't need to fork the issues. It's not necessary. It's just about the content. It just makes it easier to have in one place. So it's just about the information that's in the issues and in the markdown files. You do not have to have it as issues. It's just purely about the stuff inside of it. Okay, screen size looks about big enough. If it is too small or too large, please let me know. If not, if I go too quickly, please also let me know. And without further ado, let's go into the first section, which is shifting left. So the theme, this section is going to focus on shifting left, as I have mentioned before, and how the code changes are going to display security results after every time you commit rather than, well, months down the line. So from the preparation side of things, this issue is going to provide us with the hands-on instructions for the workshop. Just make sure that you start with assigning yourself. Where's my sidebar? Oh, this is the other one. Okay, cool. Right, so I'm going to be in the issue. If you're in the markdown file, you obviously do not have to assign yourself, but for posterity's sake, if you are in issues, just make sure that you assign yourself. Okay. Too small with two screens. Okay. see if I can do it in a different. Okay, fine. All right. Let's just put it back into one screen then. Again, I'm doing it for you, so you all have to make sure that you're able to see and get the most out of this. So, is it the wrong screen? Okay, let's put this back in. Okay. Okay, back in one screen. So I love my brain. Okay. So go back to just make this pinned for making that sure that's also pinned, making sure it makes easier my brain. Right. So instructions. I've assigned myself. I'm in the markdown. This is not where I want it to be. This is where I want it to be. So fun. Okay. We're on the main page of the project. Correct. We're on the main page of the project. Click into the project. Got the Tanuki Raising Security and Compliance Workshop. That is our main project. Once we are ready, use the left-hand navigation menu to click through Build and then Pipeline Editor, and then we're going to see the current setup of our main branch pipeline. So we are going to go to Build and then Pipeline Editor and see what our main branch pipeline looks like. We've got 3 stages. Doesn't happen a lot of things. There's some includes here. It's a linter, looks like. Not much. It's fine. If we want to go, do we need to do anything else here? Yeah, pipeline does very little in terms of scanning. Very simple unit test defined. We kind of want to add some security tests here. So that's the way you want to do it. So the thing about security scanners, if you're by yourself and you're just wanting to have some scanners in your pipelines, you can just add it to the main project configuration or the main pipeline configuration. But in larger organizations, you don't always want the security scans happening in the same bit of configuration. So ideally, you want to have it in a separate group so it can be managed by a different team, or your developers can't just comment it out and then just hope for the best. So what we are doing today is start by adding a pipeline execution policy and a separate project. So what we want to do is we go to the left-hand navigation menu to go to pipelines and then run a pipeline. So we want to do that first. So go to pipelines, then run a pipeline on main. Top right blue button, say new pipeline, and then make sure it's on running on main, and then let's go run the thing. So we can see we have a build step, we've got some tests, we've got a lint test here, normal test, and some semantic versioning. I am not entirely sure if all of it is going to actually pass, but the lint test and the semantic versionings are allowed to fail. So we'll just see how that goes. So we've got the main pipeline going, and now we want to go back into our group and create a new project. So once this pipeline is running, we at least have a base to go on. So go back into our main group and we want to create a new project. So I've got the breadcrumbs at the top here. Go back to your main group. Again, I have 2 groups. You should only have 1, but we want to create a new project within here. I'd say groups and project, I mean. So create a new project. If I'm not mistaken, it's going to be called Tanuki Security. Tanuki Racing Scanner Pipeline. Okay, so we want to make sure that we name it that way. Everything else is going to stay the same. So we don't have to worry about anything else. We're going to initialize with a README. Don't have to worry about any experimental settings and just create our project. So it will create a project slug. It will be in here. And if we just quickly go back to the main group, we can see that there's another project's been made. We've got our Tanuki Racing Scanner Pipeline. Again, this one can be ignored. And then the Tanuki Racing Security and Compliance Workshop. Right, so we've got our security project. Once we're in the project view, we're going to use the left-hand navigation to go through Build and Pipeline Editor and then configure pipeline, because that's where we want to keep the security scanner configuration, right? So as I mentioned before, we want to keep 2 different projects to make sure that one project can be maintained by our security team, and the other project is just your development project. So what we're going to do is go into the left-hand side, Build, and then Pipeline Editor. There shouldn't be much in here aside from, just bits. And we're going to replace that with everything that's in here. So we can copy that by just clicking the copy to clipboard bit over there, because you don't want to see me typing every single line by hand. I'm not sure if you've ever done that with other people, but if you're anything like me and you have people looking at your fingers while you're typing stuff, it's always bad. I've had a typing course since I was 12. I've got 150 keys per minute, and as soon as somebody watches, I get anxiety, and then I just type random stuff. So if you can see here, we added the scanner configuration. So we've got two stages here, build and test, but it wants to include some templates. So the templates here are created by us. So we make sure that the dependency scanning and the dependency scanning bits are, I can type without looking, by the way, but it's just difficult if other people are looking. Right, so it includes as a list of different scanners that we can inject into our development pipeline. So I've got this. Let me just double check if I've not missed anything. First, looking at the include section, we have yep, that's what we just talked about. Security templates includes these define different scans and jobs that will be now run based off the stages. If you wanted to get a better look into the templates, we can go into the full configuration, which is a lot of information. It's quite interesting if you feel like wanting to like pick apart any sort of configuration that's templated. Go into the full configuration, you can see exactly what's happening. Fun fact, if you ever have used Auto DevOps, for example, which is great if you are by yourself and just want to deploy something into the great wild west. To use Auto DevOps, and you then click full configuration, you see everything that makes up Auto DevOps, which is quite interesting. Right, so I've got the list over here. I've got the full configuration view, and in the edits, it just looks like this. See if I've missed anything else here. Click the branch icon on the top left and click to a specific template to get this definition. Yeah, so if you wanted to do that too, it opens in a new window. And it looks a bit dry, which is fine. But if you wanted to see that, you have at least got the transparency to just look at what you're bringing into your code. All right, so going back to the edit tab, and once you've done that, we go click commit changes and use the breadcrumbs to go back to the group view. Okay, so updated security, added security scans, because it's good practice to add a nice commit message. A nice commit message, because I've also seen random commit messages because people think they never get any people looking at their stuff, which is not necessarily always true. So be careful what you put in your commit messages. All right, let's go see about some enforcing some pipeline compliance. So what we want to do now is going back into our main project. So now we have our scanner pipeline defined. We want to make sure that it runs every single time a pipeline within the main project runs. So by doing that is we're going to set up a policy. Let's go back to our group. Just making sure the pipeline, yeah. So for reference, Ying, the bit that you want to copy is in your first issue or the first markdown file. And if you scroll in step 1, there's like this code block. You can copy and paste that from the button. Cool. All right. So again, you do get some time to do it yourself. I'll give you a couple of minutes to finish this off, but I'll do it first and then you can do it again if you think this is going too quick. So don't worry about doing everything at the same time as me. You will get some time to finish this if you want. Okay, so we're enforcing our pipeline compliance. So we're doing that by using policies. So we want to set a policy on our main project. And again, in any sort of normal or like regular old company, this is something that the security team generally is responsible for, or whoever owns the GitLab platform. So what you want to do is go to your secure side on the left and then go to policies. And obviously there isn't any policy yet, so click on new policy. So there's 4 different types of policies available. At the moment, we're going to go only with pipeline execution policy. And I believe we're going to go through the other policies as well, but just a quick rundown. Pipeline execution policy will allow you to enforce any sort of custom CI/CD configuration within the pipelines. So you can ensure that that bit of pipeline always runs on any sort of pipeline run within the project. So for example, with the security scans, or if there's anything external that needs to run every time and you want to make sure that your developers don't have the ability to stop that. The merge request approval policy is for anything that requires additional eyes. So if you want to make sure that there's, I don't know, the license scanning or anything, if there's something out of policy that needs to be looked at by second pair of eyes, security person, a compliance person, a manager, a lead, whatever, that generally goes into your merge request approval policies. Scan execution policy is something you can use to enforce that certain security scans are run on the pipeline itself. And then you've got your vulnerability managed policy, and that's kind of to automate some of the vulnerability management workflows. Again, I believe we're going into that a bit later, and if you have any questions about that, please hold until then. So for now, we're going to set a pipeline execution policy. I forgot what to put in it. Let's have a look. So provide a name and description, scroll down to the action section, leave inject as selected, and then choose our scanner project. Okay. So, because I'm a lazy typer today. Right, so we've got the pipeline execution policy, give it a nice little name. We're going to say enforce security scanners. Inject into the GitLab the CI YAML with the following pipeline execution from the project that we just made. And that's like a lot now because it's all in the same. Let's just say R8W2K7C. And I've got my scanner pipeline. You will also have this problem. Just make sure that you type in your group name to make sure that you actually add your group, your security scanner project. Otherwise, it just gets confusing. So that's the correct one. And then we want the .gitlab.ci YAML file injected. So everything else can stay the same. For now, there are loads of extra configurations you can do here, but for now, we're just creating a new policy with a new project with a new policy. So it will be another project inside your group with the security policies, which again is something that you can use as, you know, like you can track whoever makes any changes, and you can make security whoever responsible for that, so that there's no changes or updates to the policies that aren't tracked. So that's also very principle of least privilege and four eyes principle, that kind of good stuff. I've done a project, resulting page, click merge, and then, yeah, so making sure that this is merged. Boop. And then once it's merged, we go back to our other project. Or the actual project. So back into the group. And back to Tanuki Race and Security and Compliance Workshop. You can see there's a security policy project, a scanner pipeline. Again, this one is, we're ignoring this. And then our actual application project. And once I've come down that. Okay, so the multi-project approach is used so that, as I said before, policies can be easily enforced on multiple projects and allowing you to maintain better access controls. So if you did have multiple applications in your group, you can use the same policy projects to apply policies through different projects, which is useful. Okay, so let's make sure that we create a new branch to track the future changes. So we'll want to use the left-hand navigation menu to go through code, branches, and then new branch, making sure that the secure pipeline is what it's called, and then it's based off of main, and then click create. So we're in our main project, go to code, go to branches, create a new branch, secure pipeline, create from main, click create, and then we are good to go. Okay, so, and I promise we won't make it too much about Duo, but what if you didn't know how to use or how to find a running pipeline, or if you wanted to know more about some of the documentation or something in the includes keywords or something about any files you have open or something like that, you can ask GitLab Duo. If you have not been if you've been living under a rock, no, I'm kidding. There's a lot of AI things happening, and GitLab Duo is our AI suite of stuff. So GitLab Duo has a chat, and that's the button on top right over here. You should have access to all of that today. Did I? Okay, so let me just reset clear this real quick because so you should have a couple of new questions, and you can basically ask it anything GitLab related. So if you wanted to ask anything about, I don't know, let's say, I'm drawing a blank. What's tell me about best practices for security scans within my project. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Oh, okay, that's great. Okay, so normally you'd be able to ask it questions, and but the thing with AI is it's all, I'm not sure what that means. Well, that's I'm not Seraphine, have you heard anything about Duo not having a blip today or something?
No, let
Oh,
me have a look.
there is an incident. I got an email earlier for Duo.
Ah, fun times. Okay, so we won't be using you to Duo today. It's a good thing that we're in a security workshop and not an AI workshop today. That's the things with AI. They do go so fast, and sometimes you blink your eyes and then stuff changes and happens. If it does get resolved before the end of our workshop, or if you still have access to the session later, if you do, you know, as I said before, you get access for this to this group for about 48 hours, 2 days. Try it again in your own time, see if it works. It should work by then. If you use agentic mode, for example, that will be a bit that's in beta at the minute. So yeah, so don't worry about it for now. If it does work in the end, you can use that to carry on with your sessions. But again, thankfully, AI is not the main topic of our session today. I'm doing great today. Yeah. All right. So, step 4, again, this is, we've got like step and a bit left, and then we have our next section, and that shouldn't be that long. So, all right. So last, what we want to do is make sure our policy is working and that it's scanning our repository. So let's open a merge request. So we're going to go back to our left-hand navigation menu within the project and go to code merge request and then click new merge request. So we're in our group, in our project, going to code and then merge requests, and then we want to create a new merge request. Select source will be secure pipeline, right? Yeah, and then target branch still main, and then compare branches and continue. All right. Let's have a look. I think I'm supposed to unmark this as draft. Where am I? Secure pipeline. Yeah, uncheck mark as draft. Scroll down to the merge options and uncheck delete source branch when merge request is accepted. And everything else can stay as is. So just make sure you uncheck these 2 checkboxes and then go ahead and create merge request. Cool. So it should kick off a pipeline, I think. Yeah, should see pipeline kick off. If we click the link, it will bring us to the pipeline overview, but we can also just add that, access that to just go to build and then pipelines, and then we should see it over there as well. So we've got like a nice little list of our pipelines that have been run. This one is what we kicked off earlier, our main branch, and this is the one we created on creation of the merge request. Let's have a look at what that looks like. So you can see that because we've just added our security scanner pipeline, it's just completely injected all of what we did in the other pipeline. So you can see we've got the container scanning, the SAST, the linter is still active, secret detection, and everything else is just doing that. Let's have a look. Yeah, so just comparing different projects. So we've got our build and then a whole lot of security tests that we added. But if we go to the first pipeline and we look at that, we only have build, our lint and test, and our semantic versioning. So this is when we didn't have it enabled, and this is when we did have our pipeline policy enabled, and you can see the difference with it being just run. Okay, So we've got the first issue done now. We can close the issue, or we can just like, well, leave this, so to say. And you can always check your closed issues afterwards, or if you've done it via your markdown file, you can just come back at it later. So closing this, and I think it is time to go to lab 2. But first, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to catch up. Yeah, I think I'm going to give you 5 minutes to catch up. 5-minute countdown timer, and go. Okay, I'm just coming off mute for a moment to answer a question about the policies. You're right. We did in fact we created a policy, but from a overview perspective, everything lives in separate places. So we have our workshop project. This is our application, so to say. We've got that's where you apply the policies, but the policy actually lives in a separate project. So see, theoretically, if you go to policies inside your workshop project, you should have one. But if you go to your policy project and you then go to policies, should have none, because the policy code lives within the policy project, but you haven't applied any policies to that project, if that makes sense. Same for the security scanner pipeline. The only reason why this project exists is to house the configuration that we are injecting in our main application project. Does that make sense, Adam? I do agree. It's a little bit confusing, but it's kind of, if you're in your workshop project, I still don't see the policy. Interesting. You might have created somewhere else. Theoretically, I think you can create policies elsewhere, but it would still create a project somewhere. Is there a policy project in your group? Interesting. So if you go to your group and then go to secure and then policies, you should see nothing. But is there a policy? Okay. So what you probably want to do is just remove it from there and then just create it within the workshop project instead. So just to confirm, like, I think we've got like 48 seconds left. I understand that this is quite confusing, but please remind yourself that this is normally done at scale, right? Like you've got your developers, and then you've got a security team, and you've got a risk and compliance team. There's people in different parts of the business that usually have this, right? So just going back to like an earlier slide to make it a little bit more easier to see, like it's kind of each of these sections are different teams. Each of these sections have different responsibilities. We're all looking at some sort of like shared responsibility type of vibe. Like different people have different responsibilities, and what we're focused on in this particular section is how can we shift security left, so make sure that we get the results while code is still being developed. So what we've done so far is technically what security team should be doing is create the policies, create the scanner, like the stuff that we want to inject. So far it's been very preparational, so to say. Talk about requirement management and security requirements. We're going to go through that a little bit later. So I think that's in Beatrice's section. It's more about like the vulnerability management side of things. Interesting. Seraphine, could you maybe chat to Rui on the chat?
Yes. Let me look at his question.
Yeah, because it's he sees no workshop projects, no issues.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll handle it.
Cool. Okay, I am going to carry on because time is getting on and we still have plenty to go through. So just for reference, Seraphine has said that she's going to extend the access to the environment. So if you do end up having access to your environment, you will have access to it for a bit longer. So like, just follow along with me if you can. If you can't because your group is not working, then you can do it at your own pace afterwards, and you're just going to have to skip through the recording. Okay, so we are going through the parsing of the results. Let me just put the presenter view back on because it looks a bit nicer. Right, parsing the results. We're here in the schedule. We're in the agenda. There we go. So we're going through the lab setup, done a shift, talked about shifting left, and kind of what we want to do now is parse the results, right? So we want to make sure that we understand the scan results that we've seen. So we've got the merge request pipeline done. We know that it works. We've seen the security scans have done something. They're in the pipeline and it's run now. And now we're going to go see into the information to see what we've come up with, see what we found. And this is where I think the magic happens. So going back into our group and then just making sure that we open up issue number 2. If you're in the markdown bits, you just go back one page and then go to your parsing the results markdown file. So that looks like, I'm just going to hear. This is me. If you're on the markdown, go back to your security breadcrumb over here and go to parsing the results. So it's the same information as what we're doing in our issue. So this is the second part of the hands-on bit. So again, click assign if you have your issue. Otherwise, just carry on with reading. And we're going to go merge. We're going to have a review of our results, which is again what we're here for. So we're going to the merge request in our main group. So if you have multiple projects in your group, you go to your main workshop project. That's the application project. And within here, we're going to check out our merge request. So we have one that we created earlier, and we want to check the results here. So looking at our secure pipeline merge request, in a widget, it has a whole bunch of bits and pieces to review, I believe. We should have bits to review. Did I miss a step? Is it doing stuff? Why is it not showing any results? Did I miss something? It should see some stuff. There's a merge request created earlier. Right below the approval sections, we see that our code quality, license compliance, and security scanning templates we included have generated stuff. Oh, I don't see stuff. Why not? Did I forget the slides? Oh, did I? Oh. Oh, this is I'm having a great time here. Okay, so basically I've just already showed you the Oh, I'm doing great. We're all doing great today. It's going fine. This is a fantastic Tuesday morning. Did I tell you that it's my brother's birthday? He's 22. He's very young. Um, you didn't ask. I told you anyway. We've got plenty of slides to go through. I don't know what's wrong with me this morning. Maybe it's just the the bits of stuff that we're doing. Thank you very much. Also, another fun fact, did you know it's very Dutch to congratulate people with their family members or partners or something like that? And when I moved to the UK, it was very amusing to me that when I congratulated my colleague with his girlfriend, he was looking at me like, why are you doing this? It's like, well, it's your girlfriend's birthday. It's congratulations. That doesn't translate outside the Netherlands, as far as I'm aware. Anyway, thanks Beatrice for letting me know. Okay, we've got until like 12, so I have to step on a little bit. I'm sorry. Okay. I've talked about this really briefly earlier, but let's just go in and actually talk about some of the interesting bits about the security side of things, right? So, I have said this before, I'll say it again. Security is a shared responsibility. It's not just about the security people, it's not just about the developers. As a company, I believe security is a shared responsibility. From a security and compliance perspective, if you're all on top of everything, your engineering leaders get the velocity they need while maintaining security standards, enable them to ship code faster, meet their delivery targets. Compliance and legal get automated evidence collection and control validation, turning manual edit processes into automated reporting. Application security teams gain the force multiplication they need, centralizing their policy enforcement and vulnerability management across all of your projects without increasing your headcount. And then your DevOps teams maintain their tooling efficiency while ensuring security requirements are met. No more juggling between multiple tools or managing complex integrations. So these are kind of like the aligned common sort of pain points we hear from our customers and how we are maintaining it or managing it within GitLab. So we've obviously got your security side and your compliance side. And on the security side, obviously, shift left security is a very important thing that we hear from everybody. Detection accuracy is something that's very important as well. So, we want higher scan results or higher quality scan results to minimize the noise of false positives. We want faster remediation because you don't really want a vulnerability that's been flagged to sit there if it's in a very business critical application. Making sure that you give your developers the power and the tools to actually do something without having to wait for security to do so. And on the compliance side, you also have a bunch of different interesting things that you can do. So, or things that people want. So you want to ensure your regulatory compliance by automating your audit trails, enforcing your security policies. So within pipeline controls, you can implement and enforce defined guardrails throughout your entire SDLC to make sure your adherence to your secure and compliant workflows. Identity management is very important. We're not doing much of that in the session because we're just teams of one. If anybody's ever interested, I do have again, this is not for the scope of the workshop, but in my personal demo environment, I have a bunch of different users. So like there's a bunch of different views you can see with identity management and how fine grained you can make that control if you're on top of that. And then on lastly, the compliance reporting is something that's very important to many of our customers, especially in regulated industries. So there are a variety of different scanners that we've already seen in the previous section, and they all get performed as part of a GitLab CI pipeline. So there are some pre-built and some post-built scanners. I'm not gonna go through all of them because there are a lot. But for example, you've got your secret detection, your static application security testing, dependency scanning, license compliance will check your project's dependencies for explicitly approved or denied licenses. And on the post-built side, for example, we have our container scanning, which I've briefly mentioned in a previous section. Got your operational container scanning, dynamic application security testing, API fuzz testing, API security. And then the thing is, like, if we're talking about like the whole one DevSecOps approach, like sometimes people ask me, like, can I also use the scanner that I already have? Yes, you can. So you can bring your own tools, as long as it's parsable as JSON. You can just bring your own scanners. So it's kind of like one of my favorite things about being the one DevSecOps platform. You can just integrate with whatever you have as well. So make sure that you can still manage everything from your merge request and make sure that everything is enforced regardless of where the information came from. Cool. So this is something that I want to talk about really briefly. I talk about this analogy a lot. A race car with a big engine, but without brakes or functioning steering, will put you on a stretcher. Great scanners without governance will put you on the front page of your local biggest newspaper. So basically, in the first panel, on the race on the right is confident it's going to win because it's got the biggest engine in his otherwise pretty normal car. So, having a big engine in your car makes it go super fast, but again, without having brakes or properly functioning steering, you're not going to win and you're just going to end up in a hospital, basically. So, in fact, some of the fastest cars on the planet, I've been told, like Formula One cars, only have a really small 1.6 liter four-stroke engine. So size does not really matter in this case. So putting it differently, when having all of these amazing scanners, scanning all of the things, and you don't have any proper governance in place, you're more likely to become victim to the next, I don't know, OpenSSL or whatever headline security incident is next. We don't really want that. So that's kind of why we are so heavily focused on not just the security scanner side, but what to do next with it. So some of the really variety of overarching capabilities that we have, you can all leverage to become and stay compliant. So we're going to dig into that in a bit more. So just to briefly mention it, we've got your vulnerability management, which is probably the thing that we're going to be using the most. Centralized compliance management. Again, I'm not sure how much we're going to go into that. We might just briefly touch on it. The enforced scan execution is something that I've already showed you. Enforced merge request approval is something that we are going to go through as well. And then your dynamic SBOM management. So it's all very, you can use plenty of these overarching capabilities to make sure your whole estate is safe. Or at least you know what's going on. So vulnerability management. So the vulnerability report will give you a single consistent view either at your group or project level of all of the threats that have been identified by your security scans. This allows you to manage everything in one place. So as a little bit of a flyby, you can see the amount of vulnerabilities by criticalities, a detailed report of said vulnerabilities, any sort of known remediation paths, and the ID of the latest pipeline that the security reports and SBOM got its data from. You even have the ability to export this for the people who like to export like a soft copy or PDF or something of these types of reports. So just to say, it's probably like adopting security scans from scratch can be a little bit daunting if you first run, because sometimes if you've never run a scan of something, it can find lots of stuff. Especially if it's not something from scratch. So our workshop project, I believe, already has like thousands of vulnerabilities. So GitLab has added the exploit prediction scoring system, which is EPSS, to our GraphQL API, so you can make decisions based on which vulnerability is most likely to be abused in the next 30 days. It's quite interesting. Let me have a sip. Additionally, the newest vulnerability management policy option that I would just mention will also help you manage these policies as you work towards a more secure application. Oh, this is what I just mentioned. So we've got the EPSS here. We also use something called the known exploited vulnerabilities metric. I believe we might be seeing some of that today. I can have a look at it later. Anyway, so each vulnerability will get like a standard sort of GitLab severity value. So about the policies, as I mentioned, I actually talked about this already. We've got 4 different types of policies. You've got your merge request approval policies, which will create rules that check for security vulnerabilities and license compliance before merging a merge request. Scan execution policy, which is what we haven't used yet, but it will create rules that enforce security scans for particular branches at any certain time. Pipeline execution policy will enforce a custom CI/CD configuration, which is going to run in your project pipelines. And then, as I mentioned just now, the vulnerability management policy, which is going to help you automate your vulnerability management workflows. a little bit between the difference of the scan execution policy and the pipeline execution policy. Even if we did only use security scanners within the pipeline execution policy in the previous section, you can also use the scan execution policy for this. There's whole loads of different scopes you can use, but from a pipeline execution policy perspective, you can also say like, oh, it needs to get some information from a certain external factor. That's something that you can put in your CI configuration. Yeah, you can do a whole load of things, and you can just make it exactly the way your organization needs. Okay, so compliance frameworks, a little bit about that. So something that I find interesting about compliance frameworks, and this has evolved over the last, let's say, 2 years or so, and it's evolved, in my opinion, in the right direction. So compliance frameworks, the usage within GitLab, you've got your compliance center, which is this very neat sort of overview of you can basically immediately see if your project or your project or your group is compliant or not. But here is kind of where you can either set some out of the box things like DORA or ISO 27001 or whatever the number is. You can click the requirements, you can select them on projects, and the compliance framework itself is technically just a label that applies a set of common controls to a project or a set of projects. Apparently, you can apply up to 20 different compliance frameworks per project, and because I didn't know that, and yeah, so you can manage that from a central perspective. So, for example, if you are in, I don't know, like the compliance departments, and obviously being compliant looks different for different companies, the DORA or the Cyber Resilience Act, or some all of these things that are happening in Europe, some of these will have out of the box compliance frameworks with predefined requirements and mappable controls given by us. But if you have your own sort of idea of what kind of requirements that would look like, this is kind of where you manage that. Right. Without further ado, I think it's now actually time for the next set of lab bits. And after this lab bit, once we've done this portion, we are going to go for a little bit longer break because I think it's been let me just have a look here. So we want to go to step issue number 2, or if you're in your markdown, you want to go into your second markdown. And I'm not entirely sure why stuff isn't. Oh no, it's fine. I think it's just some stuff. Are you saying that stuff is happening? Right, I'm just going to go ahead with things because I've got a note from Seraphine in the background. I'm not sure what to do if it's not.
You go back to issue 1, step 4. We need to make a slight change on the file so that we can actually create a merge request and then merge it into main. That's when your security dashboard would be populated.
Something or
issue 4, yes, that one, yeah.
Okay, I just completely missed something. I'm sorry, everyone. Okay, so I oh, I love my brain. Okay, so yeah, cool. All right, we're just gonna quickly go back to the first issue and fix the step that I missed because all right, so we've got the merge request and we kind of want to just open something and change something in in a bit of code, because otherwise it doesn't find anything. If you don't change anything and you don't commit anything, it doesn't actually find anything. And thank you for calling that out, Seraphine. Oh my god, it's such a Tuesday today. All right, going to the library, Tanuki Racing, and then app.rb, and I believe it's something line 40 something. Yeah, here it is, line 45, and they say secure. And then you can just add one word to it, but I'm just being funny here. Stomach is forgetful. All right, going to our source control tab, say make an actual change. Click commit and then go to the merge request, and then it finally should actually run something. And I should have done this earlier because it takes a while for things to actually run. So I am doing great. It's fine. It is fine. We're doing well. Okay. So this is now doing stuff. Let me just look at the pipeline again. It's running. Okay, should we just do a break now then? Or is that this? Do we think that's the scans are going to run before I need to actually use it? No, yeah, I think it's probably fine if we do a little break now then. Seraphine, Beatrice, what do you think? Beatrice?
Yeah, because the scanners will probably still take like 2 minutes or so. We could do 10 minutes break now and maybe 10-minute break after section 2, because section 2 is quite long.
Yeah, okay. We can also just do like a slightly longer break now, and then like maybe a 10-minute break later.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a 20-minute break because I'm being silly and I need I need to have a breather. So
I mean, can we do a 10 minutes break? Because 20 minutes would be, I feel like it's a bit too long because we spent time already redeeming the codes and all
right.
the
10
yeah.
minutes. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Do 10 minutes. Waiting for my pipelines to run. Don't have to do anything if you don't want. And we'll just come back in 10 minutes and then carry on with the rest. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Woo! I'm still full of energy because that's how my brain works. uh, I hope everybody else has yeah, has at least got another drink with you, at least have some finishing of your scanners. I hope you actually did click merge and forgot not forget that when I did. But yeah, so we should have merged it before carrying on, but that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Anyway, we still have some stuff I think we do have some stuff to look at, so it should be okay. Right. So if you haven't done that, please click merge. If you have, then good. You're better at reading than I am this morning. Cool. I think it might be time for a cheeky little poll. What do you think, ladies?
Yep, go ahead.
Yep.
Okay. Who's gonna turn it on? I can do that. Right. So, to keep everybody hopefully awake, and I'm aware that I go very fast, and I will try my best to at least try to be a little bit less quick while we go through our next poll. The question is actually where you are on your DevOps journey. Either you're just starting out, or you're just using CI, testing on a per commit basis, or you're using CD already, or you're capturing and analyzing your metrics, and basically the full shebang, everything. It's a very deliberately ambiguous question, just to see how everybody's doing. I mean, feel free to have a chat with us afterwards if you want, or just if you wanted to talk about other stuff later on, that's also fine. But yeah, all good. Yeah, that's cool. So we're missing the whole sec point of the. That's a missed opportunity. That is indeed a missed opportunity. All right. That's fine. Security is obviously very important. Okay, so I think we've got 18 people that have responded to our thing. If not, feel free to just click one. If not. All right, so give it one more minute. As I said, I'm aware that we're going through the whole thing a bit haphazard. But we've had a bit of a tough start. And I don't want to name names, but somebody at the beginning, before we opened the webinar, was like, "Oh, so what can go wrong?" And I'm not saying that it's jinxed, and I'm not saying that this is related, but I can name a few things that can go wrong. So yeah. No, we're doing all right. We are doing all right. I mean, I don't mind this at all. I think it's fun. I think it's always fun if there's something that's challenges keep us awake, right? And as I said, it's all happening live. I promise we're not AI generated, so it's not working today anyway. Okay, so without further ado, I think it's good. We've got 21 out of 30 people have clicked the thing in the poll, which is interesting. So let's just have a look at the results. I've already seen that there's the actual thing that should be in here about security is not actually in here, which is interesting. So point for next time for the survey. Yeah, it's interesting though. It's good to see that there's a melange of different types of the journeys here. So that's cool. Cool. Right. Okay. So we're due some stuff to do. So we're gonna go through issue number 2, parsing the results. So what we've done so far is we've added some pipelines, we've added some bits. We did actually add a commit, so that actually does something. So if we go back into the merge request in a moment, we can see that actually stuff has changed. So go into the merge request, click the, did we do something? Right, so we are going to go back into the merge request. So this is the merge request that we have. There's one commit, 2 pipelines. It's passed with warnings, and there's some under the approval section. There's a couple of different things here. So we've got our license compliance. We've detected 6 the licenses for the source branch only. Code quality hasn't changed, and then we have our security scans that have detected at least 25 new potential vulnerabilities. It's worth mentioning that it's what we're seeing here is the scan results based on the commit we've just done. So every time you commit something, the scans get run specifically only on the changes that have been made. So the scans will get done. You can see the scan results in the vulnerability report if you want. But this, what you see in the merge request, is only based on what you've just changed. Let's have a look over here. Code quality, license compliance, and scanning templates we included have generated some support reports. That's great. These reports are generated with each commit, so that's just what I've mentioned. So we can go and expand everything and look at different reports, but yeah, so let's go click into something. For example, the S3 bucket ACL allows to read to all users. So if you click it, pops up to pop-up, gives you a description, gives you a status and the severity, where it is, what the location is, and some of the identifiers. And then we've got a couple of options. We can either cancel it, dismiss a vulnerability, or create an issue. Same with every other one. So have a look. There's no things. Okay, so we've got the RDS-DB instance. This is where the scanner, which scanner it found, which tool it found, project, and which file it is in, and the identifier and the description. And we can still do the same things with that if we wanted. So if you're, let's say, writing your code and you're doing some changes and like, oh my God, I've got a couple of like critical security vulnerabilities, you can either say, I'm going to immediately fix it, create an issue, and then try to fix that for you. Or dismiss it and hope that the reviewer is going to say something about it. I don't say that you should be doing this, but sometimes it can be a, if it's just an internal application and it doesn't see the light of day otherwise, sometimes you might decide that it's fine to keep. So you can give it a status and say dismissed or not changing or something. Let's have to see if we can change that now, actually. Status. Oh, no, actually, we have to do it somewhere else. Okay. So we've got 24 critical, 0 high, and 1 other. Authorization bypass. Okay, fine. Okay, so there's a whole list of stuff that's specifically only to this particular commit. If we wanted to see everything from this view, we can see exactly where it occurred, read up on why it's a risk. We've done that. Next, we want to scroll down and merge your code. I've already done this because I want the results, but you can go ahead and merge it if you haven't done so already. So double check that the merge request is not a draft. We've done that. If we've not marked that as ready, I believe when we created the merge request, we already unselected draft. So that should be fine to merge. Again, it's going to run, but I'm just going to make sure that, just make sure that you know that I've already clicked it. So don't worry about that. So what we want to do is once it's merged, go through the build and pipelines and click into the most recently kicked off pipeline. But yeah, I've already done this, so we can go right ahead to parsing the results. So our main pipeline has completed. The reports under security and compliance have been generated. These reports will only be generated if you run a pipeline against the main branch. So we're going to go to security and then secure and then security dashboard, and we're going to see the dashboard view of all the vulnerabilities and their count over time, so we can track our work and secure our project. This does take some time to collect some data, so if you do go into it now, you won't see much, but we're going to have a look at the Tanuki ray tracing application over here to see the dashboard. So this is the most recent week, and then there's a list of like different things. So I've got critical, high, medium, low, and unknown. So you can see that there's plenty, and there's not much done with it. So ideally, if you're in if this is a business critical application and you're actually working on making this actively less like a leaky bucket, then this graph should go down, ideally. So I'm just clicking out of that now. We've already seen how to view vulnerabilities within a merge request and in the pipeline, but now we're going to use the vulnerability reports that I mentioned in the slides to view the full report. So want to set, okay, so go into secure on the left and then go to vulnerability report. And there's a whole lot of stuff happening here. So as I mentioned before, we've got this pipeline is the last one that the reports were updated from. The SBOMs have been updated from this particular scan result as well. And then there's a whole list of stuff there. So in this search bar, you can filter, and we're going to filter on advanced SAST. And did we need anything else from that? Any use of weak hash vulnerabilities? Use of weak hash. Okay, click this one. So I've got a whole description explaining what it is. Secure code example. I've got a severity medium, what the project is, where it lives, what the report type was, location of the file, identifier, and the actual line of code that is doing something in. Now, this is already pretty elaborate, in my opinion. Like it's you already have like plenty of information to do something with. But if you are not a security specialist, you know, like me, I'm not that switched on about specific things that sometimes are in these security vulnerabilities. What we can do is, if it works, ask AI. So let's see if we can say on the top right here, we say explain with AI. And that doesn't look like it's working again. Oh, it is. Okay, great. Yes. So this is something that I really love that's in GA right now. Like the first time that it came into beta, this is one of the things that I use the most, because it just gives you so much information, so much more information than what you just have in the overview. So what it does, it will give you, scrolling up a bit, it will give you a description, where it is, how it can be exploited, which is important to understand, and how it can potentially be fixed. Which gives you, you know, like an option of what to do with it. Some best practices, some information, which is, I think, from a learning standpoint, is pretty valuable. So again, looking at it from a developer type of vibe, and you're doing some coding, and then not being a security person and clicking, please explain why this is a thing. And then you get a whole list of information that it will give you, you know, and potential fixes, which is useful. So that's something that I wanted to do. There's your reason to. Okay, fixed. Please tell me if I skip things, because sometimes I forget to read and do things. All right, so let me just make sure that we edit the vulnerability and change the severity to unknown, because that was the request. So change it here. Comment is required. What was the comment? Short reason. All right. Don't actually type that. Just come up with something useful if you're doing this for going forward. If you're actually using this in production, don't just type what I did. It's not helpful. But yeah, you can edit your vulnerability from here. You can change the status. So if you say like, okay, well, it needs triage, or it's confirmed or resolved or dismissed as any of the following options. So you either say false positive, or we're mitigating control, or if we're using this in tests or something like that. If there's a reason for this vulnerability to be in here, then you can change it from there. We've done that already. So inside of vulnerability, we've checked what's being reported and why. Result and drop down, we've done that. We've changed the severity to unknown and added a reason. We're unsure where to start fixing this vulnerability. We've explained the vulnerability right now, which is at the moment only available on SAST vulnerabilities. But what we want to do next is going to, and really again, I hope it works, but if the explain works, and I'm assuming the resolve works too, but we can also resolve it. And this is also something that's interesting. So again, if you're in the middle of your flow and you're doing all kinds of really funky things, and you don't really want to get broken into your flow by resolving some vulnerability that you don't really want to be fixing, you can use Duo to do that. So what Duo does is, obviously we just click explain this vulnerability, and it'll give you a whole list of things, you know, things to exploit, this and the other. And it will, if you select resolve this vulnerability, it will create you a merge request with the proposed changes, and then you can figure out if you want to actually merge it or not. So what it's doing is, what did we change? Yeah, so I did change what it suggested, and then you can decide for yourself if you want to merge it or not. Click the changes tabs to view the fix that we're bringing in. It's just one way we can quickly remediate. Yes. Yeah. So if you again wanted to do this, you can. Just note that whenever a commit is being made or like a change is being made, the pipeline is going to scan everything again, and theoretically that should then come up with that vulnerability should then not be found. Theoretically. Cool. So tailoring results to reduce noise. So in the left-hand menu, go to code and then repository, go into the .gitlab folder to set up some custom security configuration. So we want to create a new file. Let's just copy this real quick. That allow us to disable rules that generate false positives or aren't relevant to our context. So let's have a look. Where are we going? So going back to our project. And going into our repository. Let me double check if I'm doing the right thing. Navigate to the .gitlab folder. .gitlab folder. And then create a new file. Okay. Plus new file. Deep 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 rule set.toml. And click edit. Open in web IDE. Let's just commit this first. Could have done this from the web IDE immediately, but that's okay. Open in web IDE. What do we add here? Paste the following content to disable a specific kicks rule that flags public S3 buckets as vulnerabilities. So we've seen in the list, if you were paying attention, that there's a lot of things about S3 bucket stuff. So what we should be doing with this rule is that should skip it. When we're doing it right. Web IDE, got that file, paste it in, double check. All right. Commit to the main branch. Go back to our web IDE, go into your source control, add your commit message without that many blank lines. Commit and push to main. Let's have a look at our file now. Go to project. Actually go to the file. And there we go. Okay, so we've got the file. Ruleset.toml has the kicks disable S3 bucket vulnerabilities. So that's now added. Allow the pipeline to complete and wait a few minutes for the vulnerability report to refresh. All right, let's have a look. Go back to our pipelines. Let's have a look where they are. There's a pipeline running. And we kind of just want to wait until our SAST is run. But what we want to see here then is that if we go to secure and then vulnerability report and then we filter by status resolved, then that should be okay. Custom rule set. Okay, so yeah, so by creating a custom rule set, you basically can fine tune the signal to noise ratio in SAST scanning. Because sometimes I'm not sure if you've already done much with SAST scanning already, but like there can be quite a lot of noise out there. Okay. Still so much going on. Okay. Step 4. Let me just click some stuff away. Let's have a look at if my pipeline is still running. It is still running. That's the only thing about these workshops, right? Like sometimes it just takes a while before pipelines run. Fun story before we go in with step 4 while we wait. And there's a video I've done like about a year ago where I've done a demo from idea all the way into production. And the video recording of it took about 90 minutes, but the video itself was only 20 minutes or 25 minutes. Basically, it's just like cutting out all of the waiting times. Now, I'm not saying that that's something that that it takes a while, because it depends on the code and depends on the scanners and all that kind of stuff. And yeah. Let's have a look at my pipeline again. Give it a bit of a refresh. Okay, so the build's actually done. Now we just wait. Let's have a look what we're doing here. Okay, so we want to go back to our vulnerability report. This is still running. That's okay. That is okay. Going back into my group real quick. Oh, not real quick. I'm just going into a group. While this is still running, this shouldn't take too long. Secret detection. Yeah, okay. So we'll just go here to the vulnerability report anyway. Dee, 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 dee. Do, 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 do. Is everybody still having a good time? Everybody staying hydrated is important. It's almost done. I should be okay now. Okay. Vulnerability report, clicking to secure, then vulnerability report and set scanner to secret detection. Okay, vulnerability report. Click, click. Wait a minute. Report type. Secret detection. No vulnerabilities to report. Oh no. Wait, I'm not in the right place. I'm not in the right place. I need to go to this project. All right, so don't do what I did. Don't go into the root level group. Go into your project because that's where pipelines have been run. So that makes much more sense. I promise. Once we get through this issue, then then Beatrice is taking over, and then you won't have to worry about me anymore. All right, there we go. So go into scanner, and then was that what I wanted? That's not what I wanted. Oh, it's not listed. Okay. Oh, wow. I'm doing exactly what it says. It's not secret detection is not listed. So we haven't leaked any secure tokens, which is great. So it only reports on it uses your scanner if it would only show something if it's something to show. Makes sense. Scanners and secret detection? Secrets? No.
No, I don't think you've added the secret yet. So we are waiting for the step 3 to finish, but I think we can now jump to step 4.
Oh, but the secret detection has
Have
finished.
you?
So everything should be fine. So just making sure that this is the that's new.
Yeah.
Navigate to secure, filter by resolved. All right, that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
Thank you for keeping me honest. Status resolved. Is that accurate? That's just what I want to find. Confirm the previous flagged S3 relating findings have now been resolved. Wait, let's refresh here. See what happens.
I think it's still populating.
It's still populating. Oh, what a day. Okay, going back to secure and then going vulnerability report. I'm really trying to find a balance between rushing through the content because we've started way too late and staying slow enough to be it's able to understand me well. So I really am doing my best. Not that anybody had any doubt that wasn't the case. Why is this not? Okay, we have to wait. Fine. All right. We just need to wait until that's done. It's still populating. Shall we just carry on with the next steps, Serafine?
Yes. Yes. I don't think it's non-blocking. I don't think it's blocking the first one, so we can carry on with this one and then come back later.
All right, so we want to navigate back to the vulnerability report, but that's where we are already. And want to set the scanner to secret detection. But as I've just checked, I don't think it's actually there. So if I go to scanner and then it just says all scanners and not just secret detection. So I'm not sure if I'm not doing something right or if it's...
You are doing right. There's no secret being leaked, so that's why it's not there yet.
Okay, so I was
So we
right.
need to, yeah.
Okay. So we're doing things right. Okay, this is good. We didn't leak any secrets. So somebody who used to be, I used to work for HashiCorp and I used to be very all over Vault. So if there's any secrets leaked into any sort of thing, that makes me very nervous. So this is great. Okay, so why we want to prevent this from ever happening. So what we're doing now is we're going to set a policy to run on every single future merge request. Leak tokens are easy mistakes that can, yeah, you don't really want your tokens or your API keys or your cloud keys or anything leaked. So this is one story that I always like talking about. One of my colleagues did a workshop and used his AWS credentials, and that was just for everybody to see. And he got a very big bill from Amazon saying like, "Hey, somebody's just used it for crypto, whatever." So that's we don't want that. You want to make sure that that's safe. Secrets are secrets for a reason. Okay. Click through secure, then policies, and then new policy. We want to be in our workshop project. So going to our workshop project. It's not the group level. We want to be on a project. That's where we create a policy. So go again to secure and then policies on the left-hand side. And we want to create a where am I? I think making sure that we're doing the same thing. Merge request approval policy. Yes. All right, new policy, merge request approval policy, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff here saying calling it secret detection, are we calling it secret detection? Name policy, doesn't matter. Run the rules section, we want to select security scan and a when, then we want to change all scanners to be secret detection and all protected branches to be the default branch. Individual users for approver. Do you want me to add you as the approver, Seraphine?
I won't be able to approve everybody, so add Logan is still fine.
Okay. Okay, security scan. I'm gonna clear and just say secret detection runs against the default branch with no exceptions. Severity level is fine. Approver type, individual user. Sorry, Logan. Do we need to add anything else?
Don't worry about it. He has some automation behind the scene that clears out all the requests that comes in. I don't.
Okay, fair enough. Check, uncheck, prevent pushing, force pushing. Uncheck. Where's my uncheck? It's under advanced. That's that one. Double check, because reading is hard. Secure policies, new policy, done that. Secret detection. Under actions, choose individual users, choose approvers. Okay, that'll be Logan. Uncheck, prevent pushing and force pushing. Please do that, because otherwise you'll be blocked. So prevent pushing and force pushing is unchecked. Otherwise you will be blocked. So that's this one. You have to open advanced and then uncheck this one. So otherwise it's making it difficult for yourself. All right, lastly, create new project with the new policy, and then on the resulting merge request, click merge, and you will be brought to a new policy project that is applied to the workshop application. If you were to create another merge request with a leaked token still in the code base, merging would be prevented until it was removed or you added your approval. Okay, so let's just add this. Beep, 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 and then merge. Pop. That should now be fine. Double check. Where are we? Did I do it correct? Let me just double check something. Enforce. Policy for security scanners. Yeah, okay. So all of the security policies are happening in the same policy.yaml in the security policy project that was created earlier. That's fine. That's where it lives. So we're going back to the application project, and if we go to secure and then policies, we should have 2 policies applied, which is correct. Let's have a look. Click into the group and onto the project. Now, a new secret detection policy will now be enforced with every commit. However, approval mistakes happen, so we are going to set an additional scan execution policies to check for secrets that were mistakenly approved daily. So we're going to the secure and then policies bit and then new policy, and then we're going to say scan execution policy. So we're going to put another policy. So here, and then say scan execution policy. So we have one of everyone. This is, if we look, double checking if I'm doing the things correctly. Name to the policy description, and under the scan execution configuration section, we want to select template and the configuration type. I'm assuming that will be scheduled. Oh, my brain. Come on, brain. There's a security tested. And select template and the configuration type. All right, that's fine. And then additional configuration. Oh, I'm missing. Okay, let me just say this here first. Secret detection. Detection. Periodical. I'm missing something. In the scan execution strategy section, we will want to select merge request security and then select secret detection in the scan we want to execute. Template, merge request security, secret detection. Okay, that's correct. Scan execution section. We've done it already. Click create new project with new policy and on the merge, and then we should be okay. Okay. Reading everything 5 times to make sure I didn't miss anything like the first time round. So making sure that we're all doing the things correctly. Okay, so that's now merged. Going back into our security policy project to see it added to the policy.yaml for security scanners, secret detection, and then secret detection periodical. Cool. And then go back to our main workshop project. And then step 6, when a policy is no longer detected by our security scans, GitLab will mark it as no longer detected, but due to the high amount of vulnerabilities existing on our project, we want to set up a new vulnerability management policy to mass resolve certain vulnerabilities when no longer detected. So once again, we go to our policies section and then go to a vulnerability management policy. There we go. Let's double check the information that we need to add. Make it easy from management. What else do I need to put in here? Yes, add a name, scroll down to the rules section. Currently, most of our dependencies are coming from dependency scanning. So let's change all of our scanner filter to just look at this scanner. Okay, so we just say dependency scanning. Oh, double check. All scanners to filter look at the scanner. Change all severity just to critical and high. That makes sense because otherwise you get crazy. Oh, critical and high. And then I believe that is probably enough. And create new project and then also merge. Boop. And boop. I mean, that's fine. All right, ready to merge. And that should be now. All right, that's merged. Let me double check last time if all of my policies made it into the YAML, which it should. Yep, cool. Okay, back to my group. Back to my application. Now let's have a look here. Click into the project. All right. And lastly, secret detection in action. So we want to see our scan results policy working in action for secrets detection. From the main page of our project, let's go ahead and click Web IDE in the edit drop-down lists. And then we are going to click into, okay, let's go into the Web IDE first. All right, code and then Web IDE. And then where am I going next? So I've got the Web IDE open. Click into the CF sample scripts and then eks.yaml sample scripts, pop, and then eks.yaml. And then where am I adding stuff? Change the description from the name of the IAM role for the EKS service to assume the name of the IAM role is AD risky. Change the description. Where does it live? Beep, 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 beep. No, okay, description. Did I need to?
Yep, it's on line 6.
What do I change it to?
Um,
Change the description from the name of the to the name of the item. Okay, so we just
yeah.
whole sentence. Fun times. Okay. Beep beep beep. Once added, click the source control button. Click commit. Okay. Sneaky roll. Commit to push and main. Push to main. Go to project. And then create a new branch and commit to open a new branch. Did I? Once I click the source control button, click commit and click the down arrow on the resultant drop down. Okay, I think I just committed to main instead. Did I do it? That's not correct, is it?
You committed to main, but that's fine still.
Still give me a merge request or a pipeline at least.
It's going to give you a pipeline.
That's what we want. All right. Okay, so you can click create a merge request. And that's probably what you should be doing, but I created or like merge it into main directly, which also gives you a pipeline, which is fine. But
I mean, you can change it to show the policies being picked up in the merge request that is being blocked by Logan.
yeah,
If you want to, you could just change maybe a letter or something and create a merge request.
okay. So
You can do directly from the code. If you go to code,
wait.
let's go to code,
Click the wrong button. I'm being
repository. Yep.
beep 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 beep. Code. Can just go into
Yeah.
random
We
file.
could do it web ID,
Yeah, I can go.
right? You're right. Is that the one that was opened? Let's close this one so we don't. Yep. Says that.
Close.
Yeah. And then go to web ID. Yes.
We're doing it live. Everything's going fine. We're doing well. This is okay.
It is okay.
This is okay. We're doing okay.
Just change a number there or something. Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Create a
now
branch.
create the branch. Yeah.
Okay. Trying. Oh, this is that's fine. Commit message. That's fine. Okay. Create merge request. This is all going well. This is going well. I'm doing well. Okay. Created a merge request. Created a new branch. Well, that merge can start. And change the drop down to after scheduled date, and then tomorrow, 2 days from now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's correct. And check delete source branch. Whoop. Yes. Okay. Okay. Now we can create the merge request. Okay.
Yeah.
I promise it's going to be much more fun if Beatrice takes over. No, this is fine. I'm all right. Okay, so we have there's some stuff happening here now. It's going to be another merge request, or at least another pipelines happening. And let's double check if we're doing the things that we need to do. Once reserting merge request, notice that our policy requires approval from Logan is blocked by the two policies. And when the pipeline is done running, we can see our merge request approval policy has been enforced, restricting us from committing. All right, let's double check what my merge request is doing. All policy rules must be satisfied. View policies. And we're going to that page, checking that everything still working. Okay, so we need one approval from secret detection, and that's indeed Logan. 3 checks failed, so we don't have the required approvals. All policy rules must be satisfied, and we can't merge until 2 days from now. So that is correct. Fabulous. Okay. When the pipeline's done running, we can see that our merge request approval policy has been enacted. That's correct. Okay, so that's this issue done, I believe.
Yeah, if you want to go back to issue 3 and then just show that the vulnerability request was resolved, it's now populated there.
Say that again.
If you want to go back to issue, it's not issue 3, sorry, issue 2, step.
Oh, right, yeah.
Step 3.
So going to the merge request with the vulnerabilities. That's this one, isn't it? No, it's not that one. Wait.
It's in the issue.
Right.
Issue 2. Did you close it? I think it's in closed though. Yep, that's issue 2. Yep.
But where?
Step 3, right at the bottom. There.
Right, that's it. Okay.
So we wanted to show that the S3 vulnerability was marked as resolved.
Okay. Thank you. I forgot about that. At least someone's paying attention here. Okay, so status resolved. Ah, look at that. So that's, thankfully, it's actually populated. So all the S3 bucket bits have now been resolved. So, yeah, so the vulnerability management policy did the thing, or the custom rule set thing did its thing. Cool. So I did everything from this issue now. So I think I'm gonna now happily close this issue and then pass it over to Beatrice.
Yeah. Oh, hello everyone again. So I think we said we would maybe do a break, but I think because we only have like 40 minutes left, it's best to just go through it rather than doing a break and then you have to go through it alone. So I'm going to share my screen and you can see my slides. Right, so now what we're going to do is talk about license compliance and the software bill of materials. So these exercises, lab 3 and 4 will be shorter than the first half was much longer. That's why much larger, that's why we took longer. So yeah, so we're going to go and look at the software bill of materials because that's a very common requirement. So I'm just going to start by introducing why that's important. So we've seen, not just recently, but over the years, we've seen a lot of attacks, such as the Las Vegas attack just last month, where it was shut down for 2 days because of hackers taking over infrastructure. In the past, we also had the SolarWinds and the Log4j issues. And all of these led to the US administration requiring organizations to deliver a software bill of materials. And a software bill of materials is where you can see all the packages, all the dependencies that are part of your applications or your organization. And this is not just a US requirement. So if we think about the EU Cyber Resilience Act, that's going to be enforced from 2027 onwards, that will also require that a software bill of materials is that will also make a software bill of materials a legal requirement, and that will likely make the UK follow, because it's also already advised by some UK regulation as well. So the key thing is software bill SBOMs. They're important, and we're going to look at how you can get one from GitLab. So what's an SBOM? We kind of cover that. So you can export an SBOM from GitLab, but you can also ingest a third-party SBOM report into GitLab. This is sometimes useful if you want to understand the risk within third-party software that you're using. So you can see that within GitLab. And being able to just generate an SBOM or export an SBOM within GitLab is useful because it simplifies auditing processes. So typically, for auditors will require that you provide an SBOM, typically in the CycloneDX format, which is the format that we support at GitLab, and we have SPDX in development as well. So typically auditors will require that you provide an SBOM, and being able to just export it at the application or organization level within GitLab makes auditing much quicker and simple. Yeah, so that's kind of it. So yeah, an SBOM will include all the dependencies and all the libraries associated with those dependencies and whether there's vulnerabilities in those. So you have full visibility over the risk of the third-party libraries that you have in your applications. So let's go into exercise number 3. So if we go into issue 3, we'll start with just downloading a software bill of materials. So I'm just going to duplicate that. Right. So we start with we started going into the dependency list. So here in GitLab, within Secure, you'll see the dependency list. And this is effectively a software bill of materials, which you can export here. So you have the CycloneDX format available at the moment. And here you'll see all the components that are part of your, in this case, of the Tanuki Racing application, but you'd also be able to have this view at the organization level, so you can see all the third-party libraries within your organization. And yeah, so here you see all the components as well as all the licenses that are associated with those components. And these will include not just direct dependencies, but transitive dependencies as well. So that's the dependency list. And yeah, like I said, if you'd like to export it, so that would be the following exercise. If you'd like to export it, you can export it in CycloneDX, and you'll then get a notification via email that it's been exported. So that's exercise 1. Then if we go into exercise 2, what we want to see is license compliance. So we're going to look at license compliance. So now let's go back to our project, the Tanuki Racing. And oh, sorry, actually, sorry, this was still in the dependency list. So what I was just going to show here is how you can filter, and you can filter by package. And then here you'll just like you can just order it in different ways. But what we're going to do is create a policy. So that's what we have here. We're going to create a policy, so a merge request approval policy, where we define criteria to block the merge request. And what we want to do in this policy is deny this license, LGPL 303.0. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. Let's go into secure and then policies. And now we're going to create a new policy. So it's like the merge request approval policy, and we'll call it, and now actually in this case, so in the previous exercises, we used this UI, right? But here what we're going to do is just add the YAML. So you can see how you can create the rules using the UI, but also you can just use this YAML mode. So I can just add that here, and that will automatically create a policy. So that's it. And we can just merge. We can configure the merge request and then merge and create the policy. So now we have created the policy that blocks LGPL 3.0, and it will require Logan's approval. So here we have the user ID, but we know that in this case, it will be Logan's approval that will be required. And now let's go back to our group so that we can go into our project. And what we'll see in the next exercise, lab 4, is that when we run a new pipeline, we will see that this new approval rule will be included. So here, I don't think there's much more that we need to do. So when you run a new pipeline, new approval rule will be added to prevent the LGPL license from being merged. Yeah, so we can close this issue, and we've done lab 3. That was very quick. Okay, let's close the issue. I don't know if there's any questions about this. No, okay. No. So now let's go into our slides. So I'll skip the break, and we will see the results of the new policy that we created. But we're also going to look at on-demand scans and audit events. So this section is more focused on compliance. So What we're going to do is to add an on-demand dynamic analysis. So this is a DAS scan, dynamic application security testing scan. And so these can be done via CI/CD. So just in the pipelines like we've done with the other scans that Tommy did in the first section, or it can be done on demand. And what we're testing is we're testing a web application. What we're trying to do here is to get developers to think about dynamic application security testing before deployment or production. And we can have, like I said, on-demand or scheduled testing for application deployed in a staging or a production environment. So that's what we're going to do here, is do an on-demand scan. And this is a proprietary scanner from GitLab that will be analyzing. It's like a penetration testing. It's a penetration testing kind of scan. And it will look for vulnerabilities in a dynamic environment, so like a web application or an API. So that's one of the exercises that we're going to do. Then another thing we'd like to mention is that GitLab also provides GitLab also allows you to have security education. So we have partnered with three providers, Contra, Secure Flag, and Secure Code Warrior, to provide security training. So what this looks like, it will look at the vulnerabilities that are found within the merge request or the vulnerability report. But typically in the merge request, it will see the vulnerabilities that are found, and it will suggest training to the teams that based on the vulnerabilities that are found. So like if something is found very often, then it will provide specific training from one of these providers. So it depends on the one that you configure, so that it can help not only just finding and remediating vulnerabilities, but also educating teams so that you can prevent that these vulnerabilities keep coming up in the future. So that's something we're going to look at as well. And then finally, we want to look at, we want to look at audit management. So audit, because we've kind of talked about how GitLab we're trying to be a platform that will help with your security and compliance, like security and compliance with your applications, but also in simplifying auditing, because that's often a very complex and tedious process to go through. So you want to have a single platform where you can do all of that for your applications and for the organization itself. So at GitLab, you can see audit events. So these will track all sorts of events like changes to user permission levels, or even when we change the severity of a vulnerability, that will also be tracked in the audit events. And then you can stream them to your SIEM, like Grafana or Datadog or whatever tool you're using, but also to storage, so like an S3 packet. That's also something that you can do. And you can have then notifications of the audit events that you have. So you have audit events and streaming of the audit events. Then you can generate the audit reports. So from the audit events, you can export that as a report that you can provide to auditors. And that can be done at the instance, so at the instance level or group level, as well as at the project level. And then we also have CI/CD job token access functionality. So that will tell you when a job, that will allow you to create the token for a job that will allow you to control who and what jobs can use that code. So you have more security and control over your jobs and when they run and who can run them, etc. And then we have the compliance report. So like Domi talked before about the compliance center, that's centralized place to see how you're meeting all the compliance requirements. And part of that in the compliance frameworks as well, how you can have your requirements in the compliance framework. And part of that is the ability to see when those requirements are being violated. So within our compliance center, you'll see all the violations of those requirements. So that will tell you when you should act or where you should focus your efforts to still make sure that you're complying with whatever requirements you've set. Now, because you also have audit events and streaming, what you can do by bringing these two together is have notifications for when there's compliance violations, so that you're always on top of what needs to be done to make sure your applications are always complying with your requirements. So that's kind of what we're covering now, and that will be our last exercise. So I'm going to go back to our platform, and let's now go back to the issues. I don't think there's any questions around what I've just talked about. Okay, cool. So let's go back and open issue 4. And the first exercise that we're going to do is to set up an on-demand scan. So let me just open that on my second screen so it's easier to follow. Right, so we're going to go in secure and go on-demand scans and then start a new scan. And here we'll configure a task scan. So let's go to the other tab, and here within secure, we'll open our on-demand scans, and now we'll define our new scan. So now we want to call this a task scan. And within the scanner profile, we're going to create a new scanner profile. So let's scroll down here, and in select scanner profile, we'll create a new scanner profile, and we'll call it dust scan again. And we'll just save that profile for now. Right, so now we're going to create a site profile. So this is the site that we're running the scan against. I mean, this will be an example site, but you'd be running your scan against the site. So let's go back to the instructions. So now we create a new site profile, and we'll call it example site. And now here we'll have to add a target URL. And so we'll use that example.com as target URL. And because we don't want the scan to trigger a logout, so we'll exclude that URL in the excluded URLs field. So here we can have excluded URLs, and I'll use the logout. And now we're going to add some request headers to the additional request headers. So let's copy that. So these are some other headers that we're testing against. And finally, ideally you would enable authentication for the site, so it looks more like a real world scenario. So you have the authentication URL, and you have a username and the password, so that when the scan performs the test, those are the values that it's going to be using. So here in authentication, we enable authentication, and okay, now actually we have to paste one at a time. So let's copy the URL for the login, and then the username root, and the password. Just paste it here in password. And I think that's it. So then we leave the rest as is, and we save the profile. So now let's go and read the rest of the instructions. Right, so in this exercise, we're not going to actually run the scan, but this is to show you how you could customize. So when defining a DAS scan, this is to show you the level of customization that you can have with GitLab. So now we save the profile and we save the scan. Okay, so we have here an example. Actually, I'm not sure it is going to work. Okay, right. So here we have an example of a deployed application for a deployed Tanuki racing. So you'll see here the target, so the URL and the scan being run and whether the scan passed or not. So this is kind of what you'd see within on-demand scans if we were running the scan. In this case, it's running on a weekly basis. So this is the kind of view that you would see, and you could then view the results from that. So that will take you again to the vulnerability report kind of like similar view to as the vulnerability report, and it will show you the vulnerabilities that were found on each scan that was run. So now we're going to look at project audit events. So it's very simple. We're just going to go in secure and audit events, and we'll be able to see some of the changes that we've done throughout this workshop. So let's go into audit events. And here you'll see all the changes that we've done. So just the fact we added the task profile, we added the site profile, how we earlier added the approval rule for this license, and all the other changes that we've done throughout this workshop. You can then also like search for specific member events, as well as filter the dates and filter the dates. That's what I was trying to say. So that's how you see the audit events. And like I said, you could also stream that to your preferred tool. So if we go into step 3, and I hope everyone is following. These exercises haven't been too complicated, but hope everyone is following. Let me know if not. So what we're going to do is to add some additional, to show other ways you could configure the security scans. So I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to show you how you could do it. Because what we've seen is we've configured the scans using the scan execution policies and the pipeline execution policies, which are effectively the most scalable way of doing it, because you can enable it at the project level, at the group level, and you have a centralized place to adjust over time. So if you'd like to adjust the scanners, you're just going to your scanner pipeline and adjust that over time. But there's other ways you could enable the scanners as well. So within secure and security configuration, you'd also be able to use our templates. So these are all our templates for the different scanners. It'll show that's enabled because we already enabled it with the pipeline execution policy, but you'd be able to see how you do that. So if you wanted to configure SAST, you see how it would ask you what's the image that you're going to use with the registry where the SAST scanner is. Are there any excluded paths that you'd like? So this is kind of customization that you could do when using our templates. What stage do we want to run this scanner at? And then the maximum depth. So you can go up to 20. The depth is looking at the directories. So the directory levels that the SAS scan is going to look at when performing the scan. And you can define the maximum depth, so the maximum levels of directories you'd like it to go through. And then you create a merge request and it will automatically configure the SAS scan. However, this is only available at the project level. So if you have scans that you'd like to enable only at that project, then this is a good way of doing it using security configuration. It's here within security configuration that you'd also enable the security training. So here you'll see how you could enable Contra and all the other providers. Now these are separate providers and you'd need a license for those, but they could then be integrating to GitLab, and you'll see their suggestions in the merge request. Right. So now let's go. We've done exercise 3, and what we're going to do now is see the license compliance in action. So see how when you add non-compliant licenses, how that will be seen in the merge request. So what we're going to first do is add code owners. So code owners will define who can change the file. So we're going to define that Logan will be the approver for whenever you try to change the README file. So let's go back into our repository. So you go in code, repository, and here we edit in the web IDE. And so in the IDE, we're going to create a file called code owners. So just create a new file, call it code owners. And now we'll add the code below. So we'll say that here for the gem spec file, which is the file that we're going to edit in step 5, I'm the code owner, so I'll add my own username, and here you should use your own username. And then here we're saying that this will Logan will be the one for this one. So we want to commit that to main, add a commit message and push, and that's it. So that will update the code owners. So here, just don't forget to change your own username. So we add code owners and commit and push to main. And now we've made that change and we have the pipeline running. So now let's go into exercise 5 so that we can see the license compliance in action. Right. So we're in a repository. So let's go into our repository, right? And then we expand the protected branches section. So this won't show yet, right? Because the pipeline is still running. Right, Seraphine, it won't show yet.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Yes. Did you merge the code owners to main?
Yeah, but it's still running the pipeline, so it won't show the protected branches section and the code owner approval, right?
No, so I think you merge it to main and then you try making a change in you try making a merge request change. That's when it should pop up.
Yeah, so maybe we can just go ahead, right?
Yes.
I mean, we'll just go ahead because of time, and then you'll see, like later you can see how the code owner approval would then be updated. But what we're going to do is to just add a vulnerable dependency so that we can see our license compliance policy. So the merge request approval policy where we're blocking the LGPL license. So we'll just see that in action. So let's go and edit in the web IDE again. And we'll find this file. So this is the file that we have all the dependencies for this Ruby application. And on line 22, we're going to add Sidekick, this version of Sidekick. So let's go into our web IDE. Oh, I did not. So here it is. And on line 22, here we're going to add Sidekick. And I can close that. And at the same time, we're going to add all these dependencies to our gem file lock. So this is to kind of mimic what it would look like if you were to run a build on the application. It would install all these other dependencies. So it's just to show what that would look like. So let's go into our gem log file. And
sorry to step in. Did you do step 1 and 2? Did you turn on the settings in the repository and then the code owners?
Yeah, but the pipeline is still running.
No, scroll down to like step 5. Yeah, did you do number 1 and 2 on step 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 1 and 2. No, yeah, that's the one I was saying. Because the pipeline.
Oh no, it doesn't matter. You can still turn it on the project itself, so that when you do this change, it's going to catch it.
Oh, okay. So you say I should be able to see it already.
If you turn it on now, by the time you make the change with the the gem file.log, it should be able to catch it, but that needs to be turned on first.
Yeah, but I turned it on.
Okay, you did?
In this exercise.
Oh, okay, I must have missed that, sorry.
Okay, I see what you mean. So protected branches section triggered. Sorry, I'm a bit confused. Where's the protected branches section?
You go to settings, scroll right down.
In the settings, right? Yeah. So
yes, repository. You go down to repository. Yep.
Right.
And then protected branches.
All right. Sorry about that. All right.
And you toggle it up. Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
So you turn on the code owner approval. There's no site at all. Okay, cool. Good catch. Okay, so we were on exercise 5 here, so let's copy that paste that into the gem file log. So we can just copy on top of that. And now we can, I believe we can commit. Yeah, so we'll create a new branch. So we'll add dependencies. And we're going to create a new branch and commit. So you can just press enter, it will automatically create a branch, and we create a merge request. So in the merge request, all we want to do is uncheck the delete source branch, and then we can create a merge request. So let's just uncheck that and create a merge request. And that's the last exercise. Yes. So what we're going to see is that the pipeline is going to run, right? And it's going to run all the scans that we have enabled. And when the pipeline is done, we might not see it during the workshop, right? Because the time's ending. But what we'll see is that the license compliance approval policy has been enabled because the LGPL license will be detected, and we'll see the requirement for the approval of the code owner. Wait, I think there's something. Oh yeah, so we'll see here that requires the approval from. I think there's something wrong.
I think it's right. Open it, scroll down, requires one approval for the license, which we have. Yeah, click on the drop down on the widget there. Yep.
Yeah, so we do see that. Yeah, but it didn't detect the vulnerabilities for some reason. So yeah, we do see that these licenses now been enabled where we want to deny the LGPL, and the code owners has also been enabled because of the configuration that we've done. But the job has failed. That's why it hasn't detected any licenses. The build has failed for some reason.
Let me have a look.
All right, so while we look at that, I'm going to just conclude the workshop and then we try to figure that, I guess. Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah, okay, because the job has failed, but what would happen is you detect the vulnerability, the jobs will detect the vulnerabilities and block the merge request because of that. So the last thing I just wanted to mention is because you have access to this project for another 2 days, to this lab, I mean, for another 2 days, you can do the exercises or just go to the exercises again on your own. But you can also transfer the project, so you can so you should only transfer the project when you are done, because you will lose some of the capabilities, right? Because the functionality within this lab is all GitLab functionality, and so when you transfer it into your own group, then you'll lose that extra functionality. So you should only transfer when you are done so that you don't lose that functionality. So we do have workshop instructions on how you can transfer the project. So you can find them if we go back to the repository. So we go back to the project, and now here we go on courses, and here you have transfer project, and here you have the instruction to transfer the project. So you have instruction to transfer the project or to transfer the group, which will transfer the whole group. So, but both of them to transfer, you go into settings, and in general, if you scroll to advanced settings, then you'll be able to see the option to transfer the project. So here I would be transferring the project, so I have to select a new namespace, and then you could transfer the project, and it will be a similar way of doing it if you transfer the group. And I'm going to stop sharing because we kind of have covered the workshop. I don't know if there's any questions left. All right, so we have some questions from Frederick. Oh, Dominic, you're answering them. Okay, so we had the question, how do we work with security requirements at all in GitLab? Can you give an example of, because one way would be to use the compliance frameworks that Domi shared before.
You can potentially show the compliance frameworks bits. I'm happy to like quickly just whip that up. But the thing that I shared with one of the other people is the compliance adherence templates that you can use to put that in your compliance frameworks and have your mappable controls. I'm aware that it's not been part of the session, but it's been that's kind of where you what you would use. Uh,
Yeah,
Shall I just quickly give that, like, show that? It's maybe not in the same group, but might be useful.
you're going to show or you're telling me to show?
Oh, I can show it. It's fine.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Again, this is not part of the workshop, but this is just because I think it's cool. But yeah, so if you have your group here and you go to compliance center, you have loads of stuff. So you have your overview, status, your violations, your frameworks, and your projects. This is basically like your one-stop shop for where you can see how compliant your company is, right? Or your projects. So I have a bunch of frameworks that I've used from the adherence templates that I think I put in the chat. It's basically this list. So there's a whole list of like out-of-the-box templates that we're still working on, but these are the ones that you can already use. So if you go to your frameworks, there's a bunch of different ones, and you can see the requirements that are mappable to it, right? So you can say, I want to say add a new framework or something like that. Does that work? I have to do it on a top level group. But yeah, so I've added SOC 2, added ISO 27101, PCI DSS, Cyber Essentials, and DORA, and each of these controls, each of these requirements, you can map to certain controls. If you click one, for example, you can say default branch protected, or secret detection running, or something like that, fuzz testing running. So even if you haven't actually put any of the policies in place, you can see which requirements are needed to, map to certain things. You can also make your own if you want. So this is literally just okay for SOC 2. We think these are the mappable controls that you need. But if your organization requires a little bit more or something like that, you can either put that in your own compliance framework or add it to the ones that we have for you. Does that answer your question? No news is good news. Cool. Yeah, to be fair, like it's I really love, like, it's going to sound very silly, but like the compliance center for me is kind of the thing that I talk about the most. I've been here for so long. I've been talking about this stuff for ages, but the compliance center is like slowly like built out to something a lot more usable. Like before, when I just started at GitLab, compliance center was just, here's just a label. Good luck. You can put some you can insert some CI YAML into certain projects that have this label applied, but it's rapidly grown into a really nice sort of overview for your security and compliance people, where you can see which projects are like in violation and what kind of stuff you can do with it. You can bulk assign projects to certain frameworks. So if you have like one set of projects that need to have this and another set of projects about that, and you can just assign that within the compliance center. So it's literally, this is one of these overarching controls that you can use to ensure compliance, right? Anything else while we still have 5 minutes left? Yes, it is. The link that I just shared is from our GitLab repository. I think it's just JSON files, so you can just add those.
Yeah, but we can share the documentation. Maybe that's useful
Yes.
for the compliance center.
I added it to the Q&A. Where is it? This one. Oh, there's so much information here. There we go. It's that one, and then there's a. Where's that page? Beep 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 beep. Compliance frameworks. There we go. Oh yeah, this one. So much documentation. Our documentation is quite thorough.
Yeah. And if you have more questions, you can always like follow up separately.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for enduring the technical difficulties, and hopefully you learned something today.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, feel free to add us on LinkedIn or something if you want.